Most roofing sales departments are nothing but a leaky bucket. And I'm not talking about the leaky bucket that you kick underneath the water that's coming through the actual roof. I'm talking about your sales team that's going out to these new opportunities. They're rushing into putting a quote together thinking that that is the job, that's why they're there. They're misdiagnosing roofs, they are letting deals slip through the cracks, and they're not locking down revenue with service agreements for long term. And you wonder why you have these ebbs and flows, these highs and these lows, the roller coaster of the roofing sales department. I'm fortunate and privileged enough to see inside of some of the world's best roofing companies. And what I've realized is that inside of their sales departments, it's a fully choreographed system. So they have a way to diagnose the decision-making process, the decision makers, to diagnose the roof, to essentially take every opportunity that's a qualified roofing system for them and take it off the streets and make it unavailable to their competitors. I'm gonna show you guys the 6-stage process that they walk through and how you guys can implement that into your roofing business today. You get a call for a commercial opportunity, you get excited and you send a rep out there or you go out there yourself. And within a day or two, you're on site and you're already putting numbers together and photos together to start to put together a quote. The issue with that is that you just have no idea what they've done in the past, what they're experiencing currently, subsurface level outside of just having a leak. You don't know what their desired outcome is. You don't know what their decision-making process is because you're not asking the right types of questions. Probably not using master service agreements to lock the roof down so that way, even if you don't close the deal now, you can close it next week, next month, or next year. We have to take the roofs off the street. And worst of all, your reps are walking roofs that they actually haven't earned the right to inspect yet. They are misdiagnosing issues and they're blending in with every other roofer that's already been out to walk that roof. The best roofing companies in the world use a 6-stage sales process, and I refer to this as the ladder sales process. So ladder, L-A-D-D-E-R, is an acronym for all of the different stages in the process. The 2 Ds stand for discovery and diagnosis. Discovery and diagnosis is where most money is lost with the current way you're running your sales process. But it can also be where the most money is made. So let me break it down. Discovery is really just understanding the decision-making process, the decision makers, and really what they've done in the past. Are there any past attempts that they've taken a stab at to solve this problem? What are they currently experiencing, right? And again, I'm not just talking about the roofs actually leaking, but what is the pain, what are the issues that they're actually experiencing because of that leak coming into the building? Are their tenants getting wet? Are their employees getting wet? Do they have machinery getting wet? I've had experiences in the past where I've walked in to take a look at an issue from a leak call, and they had multi-million-dollar equipment that was getting dripped on. So not only do we want to understand what they've done in the past, what they're experiencing currently, again, not just at surface level, but a layer deeper and a layer deeper and a layer deeper, but also what is their desired outcome? What is the problem that they're actually trying to solve, and how do they want it solved? What are their intentions with the actual building? Are they planning on selling the building sometime soon? Are they planning on keeping it long-term? Is it a private owner or is it a syndication? There's so many variables, and without asking the right types of questions, in discovery, you're gonna have no idea. So inside of discovery, we have something called the 10 buying signals. And so there's been a lot of famous people in the sales space, from Grant Cardone to the Wolf of Wall Street guy to like all of these other different Sandler sales process and so on and so forth. They have talked about buying signals. But if you're unfamiliar with what that actually means, a buying signal is really just something that the prospect is going to say or feel or share with you in some way, that when you check those boxes, when those buying signals are hit, it just makes it more of like a natural conclusion that they move forward with you, that they give you the yes at the end, rather than you having to do some form of like pushy close or pushy ask at the end. And so I'll break these down for you. There are 10 of them, so it might feel like a lot, but I would actually really advise, like, write these down. And if you do nothing else with this video, just share this list of 10 things that you want your sales reps to accomplish with every single prospect. Number one is we just have to get the prospect to admit that there's an actual problem. This is pretty easy to do on inbound opportunities because they're literally calling you with a problem. We just want them to actually verbalize and say what the problem is. Number two, and this is a big one, we want them to feel that the problem is actually costing them something. Their time, their money, or some form of energy. It could be that they are either losing money because a tenant had to move out. They're losing money because an employee is unable to work a certain amount of time. They're losing their time because they have to come in and do something since the employee is not there. Their energy is because they're getting sucked into this situation that they have to keep dealing with while they're wearing the 10 other hats of the roles and responsibilities of whatever their job is. Number three, kind of extra bonus points, that they've already tried to fix this and somebody's failed at fixing it. Number four is that they can visualize a better outcome. So they can visualize not having to keep spending money on fixes that aren't working. They can get their time back and not having to deal with these tenants. They can get their energy back and free up the mental space so they don't have to think about this problem anymore. Number five, that it's a problem they want to solve now. So it's a timely issue, not something that they're gonna put on the back burner and say, hey, this would be nice to do later on. Number six, kind of in the same vein as number five, is they see the cost of inaction. They understand what it's gonna cost them mentally or physically or tangibly if they don't solve this problem right now. Number seven, they have to trust you as the actual advisor. Number eight, they actually need to understand your process and believe that, like, oh, this guy understands my problem and his process is going to work for us. That's typically done after discovery, after the diagnosis is done, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. Number nine, which is my absolute favorite, is that they recognize the real root cause of the problem. So the issue is, the root cause of the issue is not the leak. It's not the limb that came through the membrane and caused the leak. It's the fact that they don't have a partnership or a relationship with a trusted roofer, a trusted roofing advisor that they can call at any point in time and get their issues resolved. That's the root of the problem. And number 10, they just have to see that what you're offering them is logical, you've removed any risk from the situation, and that it makes financial sense to the situation. And the way that we move these deals forward with as little sales pressure as possible is that we just check as many boxes as we can of all of those buying signals before we ever get on the roof. Now, you're not going to be able to check the boxes of all of them because some of those buying signals do require you to actually have, a solution in place and to be able to talk through that with the client. But it just makes your job easier as a sales rep if you can take care of as many of those as humanly possible before you ever step foot on the roof. They always say there's two sides to every story. And so the first side of our story is going to be all of the information that you just gathered in the discovery process. The second part of the story, or the other half of the story, is what we're gonna find up on the roof. And so it's just very important that we don't jump into diagnosing the roof before we understand all of those things that we just talked about in discovery. The truth is, we're just gathering all of this information so that when we put an actual proposal together, that we can tell an entire story, that when the decision makers look at that thing, they're like, oh, this guy understands our problem better than the guys that are, sending us a proposal that just have, 500 line items on it and a price at the bottom. When it comes to the actual diagnosis, like the actual roof inspection, there's three main reports that we look at. If we've never been on the roof before, and this is our first time stepping foot there, we want to use what we call a conditions report. So with the conditions report, what we're trying to do tangibly is we're trying to apply a grade to the roof system. So I think about every roof as a life cycle. So we have roofs that are brand new and we have roofs that need replaced, but a lot of times most roofs kind of fall in between, right? They're in the middle of their life cycle. Not only is this super helpful for the prospect or the client to understand like where their roof's at in the life cycle so that they can understand how to start budgeting or how to start thinking about like, can we extend the life of this roof? But it also gives your sales reps like a pathway to know, hey, are we quoting repairs? Are we quoting some sort of restoration like a coatings or a layover or even like a retrofit? Or is this thing shot and we're definitely gonna quote it for a replacement? Once we understand where the roof is at in its life cycle, and we've leveraged the roof conditions report to guide our sales reps through that inspection and to allow them to have an objective view of where it's at in the life cycle, then we can say, okay, of these two other reports, the service and maintenance takeoff or the capital projects takeoff, which one should I leverage? And so the objective of that conditions report is the definitive grade. And once we have that grade, we then know what direction to run. So we say, hey, if it's an A, a B, or a C, then let's put together a takeoff, take off and gather all of the information we need to be able to put together a quote for repairs and a preventative maintenance agreement. On the other side of it, if it's a D or an F, we're gonna do what's called a capital reports takeoff. And what that does is it guides my reps through step by step an extended version of their inspection so that they grab every measurement, every detail, every count of everything on the roof, and they know that when they leave that roof, that our estimating team is gonna have everything they need to be able to put numbers to the story that they're gonna put together in the proposal. Something you guys should know is that for every proposal that we put out to the marketplace, to every single prospect, that no matter if it's a repair or a restoration or a replacement, that we are piggybacking or attaching the preventative maintenance agreements to any other proposal that we have. This is gonna allow us to extend the life of the roof, keep more money in the decision maker's pocket, and ultimately extend our relationship with them so that we can continue to mine more money, more wallet share from every single customer. All right, and for this final section of the video, this is what I call education equals trust equals more money in your bank account and in commissions. Most roofing sales reps don't understand the concept of extending the life of a roof. So how could we ever expect a building owner or a property manager to actually understand that if most roofers don't? So the job as a sales rep is to teach them how to think. It's not to sell them on something. It's like they should be able to sell themselves by just knowing how to think about their roof. And so I'll give you guys a quick analogy on how you can leverage this in the real world. So if you go down to a car dealership today and you say, hey, I want to buy the fanciest truck and I want the best warranty bumper to bumper that I can buy, you might pay $3,000 to $5,000 for that best warranty. Just like if you put a new roof on somebody's building, they can also pay for that extended warranty. The issue is that most roofers don't understand the difference between a warranty and an actual service agreement. So on that truck that you just bought off the lot, you pull it off the lot, you drive it for 60 to 90 days, and guess what? You have to go change the oil. You need to rotate the tires. After a winter passes, you might have to swap the wiper blades. Well, the roof is the exact same way. It has its own set of components that need maintained, just like the car does. But that warranty, that bumper-to-bumper warranty, does not actually cover the oil changes, the tire rotations, the swapping of the wiper blades. And that exact analogy is how you can educate all of your prospects on how to think about their roof. If your sales team isn't running like a real system and you're not operating in the way that I just talked through over the last few minutes, it's probably a real constraint for you and your business. So the idea is that we want to build this up like a real choreographed system, almost like a dancing team, that you'd find in the background of a Beyonce video. But the reality is it doesn't happen overnight. And if you have questions around anything I talked about in this entire video, I'm a complete nerd for this industry. I love talking sales. I love talking marketing. I love talking the roof business in general. So if you have questions, send me a message on social media and I would love to chat with you guys there. I'll see you on the next video.